Casual speculation about Aleph 1. The game tells us that whenever a civilization is formed, a Thenodian is created. And we can also see the pattern, that Thenodians don't just appear in the middle of nowhere and then wander off to find a civilization to annoy. They always are created, connected to a particular civilization and nearby. This is Vovo. This is Vovo's. These are Vovo. Anyway, Vovo does not come from Solaris 3. Vovo comes from somewhere, a home civilization, deep in space. This is Aleph 1, a Thenodian that does not come from Solaris 3, but instead comes from somewhere deep in space. So the speculation is, Aleph 1 is actually the Thenodian associated with Vovo's home civilization. Let's continue exploring that idea. Let's go back in time, actually over 10,000 years, back to when the Corte Savante was exploring space and had built things like the Skyark space station, which part of what it was doing was researching the etheric puddle. While exploring the fallen wreck of the Skyark, we'll find a recording, and that recording shows the etheric puddle expanding to become the etheric sea, encompassing Solaris 3, and at exactly the same time, Rovar falls down to Solaris 3, possibly even from the etheric sea itself. Speculation. The etheric sea was created or put in place by Rovar's home civilization. There's more evidence to that. For example, nothing can get through the barrier in either direction. The etheric sea blocks everything, including Aleph 1, except for the exostriders, which were also created by Rovar's home civilization. These are the only things that know how to bypass the barrier. That's why Aleph 1 tries to hijack the route being used by the exostrider now known as Laharoi. It's trying to use the same way past the barrier by following it through, and it gets sealed behind the Strider Gate. This is Chisa. She's about to go through a portal wormhole gate thingy that will teleport her to Star Torch Academy from Hanami. And the second she enters, she immediately does not see something that looks like a black hole of a giant eye. She immediately does not get attacked by it, and she immediately does not have her frequency drained by it. This is Rovo, who is heading in just seconds after Chisa. When she steps in, she immediately sees something that looks like a giant eye crossed with a black hole. She immediately gets attacked by it. She immediately starts having her frequency drained, and perhaps maybe even would have died, except for the fact that she gets booped on the nose. So this suggests that Aleph 1 really does have a particular association with Rovo's home civilization. It's particularly interested in Rovo to the point of even ignoring Chisa altogether. We can also see that Rovo's home civilization is very powerful. They're spacefaring. This could explain why Aleph 1 seems so particularly powerful compared to other Thenodians we've seen so far. And it also kind of explains its theme. Thenodians are kind of like the Jungian shadow self, but not of an individual, but of a whole civilization. If you're a mighty spacefaring civilization with many great achievements, and you look out across the expanse of space and the expanse of time, you watch supermassive black holes at the center of galaxies devour the galaxy, the thing you may come to fear is that all your achievements count as nothing. In the grand infinity of time, you'll just fade away, and has there been any point in doing any of the things you've done? And this is kind of the essence of Aleph 1, the fear of the void, of erasure. Now, being so advanced, doubtless the home civilization of Rover would have noticed the Far Watcher and other probes sent out by Solaris 3. This probably put Solaris 3 onto their map, basically. It's how they probably discovered it existed. Now, they also would have known about the Thenodian, Aleph 1, and probably would have tried to set out to find ways to defeat it. Now, what if they discovered that this was impossible? They just couldn't do it. There was no way they were going to win. The only thing they came up with while trying to research ways of defeating it was a barrier that could keep it out. And they realized the situation was hopeless. They were going to be destroyed. In desperation, in order to avoid them being wiped out and not a trace of them being left, they send one member of their civilization to Solaris 3, and they seal it behind the barrier that they know can keep Aleph 1 out. Perhaps Rover's mission is not to help Solaris 3. After all, the lament did not start until the etheric sea appeared, and that was when Rover appeared. So perhaps Rover's mission was simply to survive. And then when we see Ameth go into Aleph 1 as a digital ghost, she discovers the communications satellite and finds Rover's message asking to come home, which is denied. But what if, soon after sending Rover to Solaris 3 and sealing it away, they were wiped out? They lost to Aleph 1. It completely annihilated their civilization. Rather than tell Rover that this was about to happen, they simply gave a dismissive, "It's not necessary" to the mission. And then Ameth, of course, gets really mad when they ignore all of Rover's future messages after that one. But what if there was just no one left to hear Rover's messages? No one left to reply. Their civilization had been wiped out. And I think this is an interesting speculation for one other reason. In the fight with Leviathan, we see Rover dragged into a nightmare that Leviathan has created by digging into their memories. There, Rover sees the gravestones of all the people they have come to meet and know and love on Solaris 3, a fear of losing everything, which perhaps has happened to them before. But then, most interestingly, we come to this place. It's actually the starting scene of the game, and Galbrana comments she has never seen anything like this before, and that it must be really important to Rover. Now that's strange, because why would this be important? It's just a rock in the middle of a lake. It's just desolation. There's nothing there. What if this is what remains of Rover's home civilization? Perhaps this is the location of the hometown where Rover was born and grew up. Perhaps this was once a mighty city where Rover lived. Who knows? But in one way or another, I think this represents all that is left of Rover's civilization. It has been annihilated, destroyed by Aleph 1. We also know that Aleph 1 found its way to Solaris 3 by following the Exostriders. We know it consumed the communication satellite that Rover was using to communicate with the home civilization, so perhaps it followed the signal. In other words, it seems like everything that led Aleph 1 to Solaris 3 was based on it following the connection between Rover's home civilization and Solaris 3. Thanks for watching.